Hello and greetings to all. My name is Wanja Nyingi, and I have the pleasure of serving as a member of the IPBES Multidisciplinary Expert Panel and as the co-chair of the Task Force on Capacity Building. It's my honor to give this presentation on behalf of the task force and of my co-chair, IPBES Bureau member, Sepsebe Demisio. I will begin by a brief summary of the work achieved by the task force between IPBES 7 and 8, then move on to the proposed interim work plan between IPBES 8 and 9, and finally, the draft work plan for the period IPBES 9 and 10. I will then highlight some activities of the Nexus and transformative change assessments. As you know, the current task force was established following IPBES 7 and is mandated to implement objectives 2A, 2B, and 2C of the IPBES work program up to 2030. We met face-to-face in Bonn in September 2019, as you can see from this photo, and again virtually in March 2020. The work of the task force has been supported by resource persons from FAO, UNEP, and UNDP, while the technical support unit is hosted by the Norwegian Environment Agency. On Objective 2A, Enhanced Learning and Engagement, the main achievements since the last plenary are centered around 4 focus areas. The fellowship program has been expanded with new fellows selected and supported to participate in the invasive alien species assessments and scenarios and models task force. To date, we have involved 92 fellows from 54 countries. The task force also organized a virtual fellows workshop, an induction day for new fellows, and facilitated engagement and dialogue in the fellows and alumni network. Under training and familiarization, we have collaborated closely with other task forces and produced close to 50 webinars and training videos. These are available on the IPBES website. 3 virtual dialogue meetings have been held for national focal points and other government representatives on review of scoping reports on Nexus and transformative change assessments, and the second review of values and sustainable use assessments. The aim of these meetings was to increase policy relevance of the assessments through dialogue between governments and assessment experts. Finally, an IPBES youth workshop was organized in 2019 as a pilot to explore opportunities for further work on youth and to strengthen their engagement in IPBES work, including uptake of IPBES assessments. With regards to Objective 2B, facilitated access to expertise and information, we collaborated closely with the IPBES communications team to support uptake of approved assessments and deliverables by providing event organizers with IPBES outreach materials, among other support. The promotion of communities of practice has revolved around 2 existing pilot communities to enhance contributions of social sciences and humanities to IPBES and facilitate continued engagement of scenarios and models experts in the work of IPBES. The task force also organized the 4th meeting of IPBES Capacity Building Forum last year, bringing together close to 150 participants from more than 50 countries. The meeting aimed to catalyze knowledge exchange and increase collaboration. Participants included national and sub-regional platforms and networks, IPBES members aspiring to facilitate such platforms and networks, and organizations and institutions that can support these efforts. The report of this meeting is available in the documentation to IPBES 8. Efforts to strengthen national and regional capacities, Objective 2C, have focused on encouraging the establishment of platforms and networks. Important highlights include the organization of a regional dialogue for national focal points in Eastern Europe and the 4th meeting of the Capacity Building Forum. Further work includes the development of an online space on the IPBES website with relevant documents and resources, including a document developed by the task force on how platforms and networks can engage with IPBES work. Before moving on to the work plans for the upcoming intersessional periods, I would like to thank our strategic partners, collaborative supporters, and other institutions and organizations supporting capacity building work under IPBES. As set out in the 2030 work program, Objectives 2B and C will largely be implemented through support from relevant institutions and organizations. The efforts of the task force are primarily focused on facilitating, encouraging, and promoting activities of contributing institutions and organizations, and strengthening networks for dialogue and peer learning. A list of reported contributions is also available on the IPBES website. The interim work plan developed by the task force for the period IPBES 8 to 9 is presented to plenary for approval at IPBES 8. This work plan builds on achievements and lessons learned in implementing the capacity building rolling plan, which was welcomed by the plenary at IPBES 5. Under Objectives 2A, the task force proposes that work on the fellowship program involves selection of new fellows for nexus and transformative change assessments and training and networking activities. As you may recall, the aim of the program is to further develop the capacity of outstanding early career professionals to work in science policy interface on biodiversity and ecosystem services, including on upcoming IPBES assessments and other deliverables. Training and familiarization will focus on developing e-learning resources and catalyzing the development of training materials and activities. These are intended to strengthen the capacity of IPBES experts and stakeholders to engage in IPBES processes, participate in the production of and use of IPBES assessments and other deliverables. The science policy dialogue meetings with national focal points and other government representatives are aimed at facilitating dialogue between policymakers and assessment authors and contribute to knowledge sharing and peer learning among national focal points. The proposed dialogue meeting organized in coming intersessional period would be undertaken in the context of the review of the scoping report of business and biodiversity, in the context of second review of the invasive alien species assessment, and on the nature futures framework. The task force also proposes a global youth workshop that will build on momentum build the first youth workshop in order to strengthen youth engagement with IPBES. As mentioned earlier, IPBES capacity building depends on support from other institutions and organizations. Building from previous experience, the task force proposes issuing a call for contributions to support the uptake of IPBES assessments and other products, and provide non-monetary support for such events and activities. Further, under Objective 2B, we propose continued promotion of communities of practice through, among others, developing a guide on how communities of practice can engage with IPBES, and also encouraging existing communities of practice to facilitate access to expertise and information. We also propose convening a 5th meeting of the IPBES Capacity Building Forum, which is an important arena to increase engagement and cooperation around specific thematic capacity building areas. To strengthen national and regional capacities, the task force proposes to continue encouraging the establishment of science policy platforms, networks, and assessments. Following the positive feedback received from the 4th meeting of IPBES Capacity Building Forum, the task force proposes that efforts here include organization of an online dialogue workshop to further facilitate dialogue and knowledge sharing. Activities for IPBES 9 to IPBES 10 draft work plan are expected to build on the main areas of work from previous intersessional periods, with activities linked to the phases of the assessment and ongoing work. This would include the continuation of the fellowship program, further training and familiarization activities, organization of science policy dialogue meetings, and continued work with youth. Further work also includes a call for contributions on uptake of values and sustainable use assessment, promotion of communities of practice, a meeting on capacity building forum, and continued efforts to strengthen national and regional capacities. Finally, to conclude this presentation, I would like to go through possible capacity building activities related to nexus and transformative change assessments. This nice figure is an overview of possible capacity building activities, which are showcased in green for nexus and transformative change assessments, including selection and support of new fellows, webinars, learning videos, and other resources for authors, dialogue meetings for national focal points, and supporting the uptake of assessments upon approval of summaries of policymakers. Thank you for your very kind attention. For further details on this very brief presentation on what we have achieved so far and what we plan to do in the future, please refer to document INS9. And again, thank you. I look forward to engaging with you in the future.